So before I jump into this video, just a couple of quick points or announcements or whatever. I am currently working on my Astrobot review. I am editing the video, so it should be up after this video goes live. If you hear any background noise, it's my dogs doing their thing, they're eating and all that stuff. But I want to talk about the PS5 Pro because it was announced today. It is right now 9:30 p.m. I did do a recording session for my other podcast, the Three Amigos podcast. I'll have that podcast channel in the description so you can check out that video. We should have that up hopefully fairly soon. But I want to do my own separate video about the PS5 Pro because it's a very controversial thing and it's very puzzling that Sony is not only releasing this device but at the price tag and all the other different specifications about the Pro. And I want to go into detail about that for those who may not know what's going on. I do have them pulled up here on my notes. So give me a second to get them ready. So first thing I want to throw out there is that the pre-orders are going to be open September 26th in the US and I think a couple other countries as well. It's priced at $699.99. So before taxes, like $700. After taxes, you're talking $750 or so. It is going to have a 2 terabyte internal SSD rather than the 1 terabyte on the Slim and the 800 something gigabyte on the base PS5. So the 2 terabyte is a good, feature. Just there's a lot that goes into this whole announcement. Wi-Fi 7 is going to be a feature on the PS5 Pro. I'm not too knowledgeable in Wi-Fi 7, so it doesn't really apply to me because I don't know much about it. But what you're basically getting is, to dumb it down in layman's terms, you're going to get like a 45% boost in performance from the base PS5 and the PS5 Slim to the Pro. But there's a lot of things that doesn't make sense to me here, and it comes back to games being released on previous generation and current gen, as well as the whole Series S and X rule. If you don't know, games cannot be released for Series X if they cannot be released on Series S at the same time, which is also going to hurt the third-party games that also come on PlayStation because they can't be released on PlayStation if they can't be released on the Series S at the same time. So as my dog chews their food over there, there's a lot to talk about here, a lot to unwrap here. I'm going to try to make it quicker and not spend a lot of time on it. But what they showed in terms of base PS5 versus the Pro, I don't think it's a big gap in performance and visuals. They do talk about, background stuff looks better, cars in the background in Spider-Man looks better. Do you think anyone cares about the cars in Spider-Man 2 when they're swinging through the city up high in the sky, or using the wingsuit to fly through the city through the wind tunnels? Think anyone cares about the cars and the details of that? No. You think people care about the background characters in the parade scene of Ratchet and Clank in the very first part of the game? No. If you're talking about visual performance for the game itself as a whole and the main characters, your playable characters, that's a different story. But a lot of what they've shown in terms of games that are performing better, Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima, those are games that were released on PS4. They got a PS5 upgrade and are now going to be boosted again to PS5 Pro. How much more can you boost the game from that generation? Then you have the topic of games that were released on PS4 and PS5 that were being held back by the PS4. God of War Ragnarok, I feel, was held back by the PS4. Gran Turismo 7 was held back by the PS4 because it's now going to have ray tracing on Gran Turismo, whatever. Horizon Forbidden West was also held back, especially with the DLC Burning Shores being exclusive to PS5 and not PS4, because they were able to do more with the PS5 technology for that DLC, which is why you couldn't get the DLC on PS4, period. So it's one of those ideas of like, how much more can you really boost the performance of the Pro compared to the base model, but also what more can the base model do that it's not doing now because of the limitations of the PS4 by developing games on last gen, and limitations of the Series S causing us third-party games to not be fully utilizing their potential, because there's a lot of great games that look amazing on PS5 base model. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Horizon Forbidden West still looks great despite being a PS4 and PS5 release. Same thing with God of War Ragnarok. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart looks great. Demon's Souls was a launch title PS5 game that still holds up to 4 years later, still looks better than a lot of the releases that we're getting now. And that was on a PS5 only release. So I feel like there's a lot more room that the PS5 could utilize its potential and have amazing visuals and performance if games are being developed exclusively for that with enough development time. Now, you also have to consider with the PS5 Pro, no disk drive included. That's another $80 purchase. No vertical stand, another $30 purchase. on top of that. And you have to look at the price gap like this. Because it's a digital model Pro, the price gap is not 200 from the base PS5, it's 300 from the digital base PS5. So you are not having that smaller jump of $200, smaller in quotations, $200 jump point. It's a $300 price jump from digital PS5 to PS5 Pro because you have to buy that disc drive separately and the stand separately. If you're someone who has a PS5 disc version and you have these physical games, you cannot play your physical games on the Pro until you buy that disc drive separately. That's ridiculous, honestly. If they also said, hey, the PS5 Pro will improve performance with the Wi-Fi 7 for your PlayStation Portal, then I can see that for the Portal people to buy the Pro. I had the Portal twice and returned it both times because it was garbage. I have gigabyte Wi-Fi, and maybe I don't have Wi-Fi 7. That's probably why it didn't run as good. But my Portal experience was bad. I don't want to say mostly bad, but I had so many moments where it was bad that I had to return it both times because it just could not run to what I needed it to run. There's so much more I was going to say about the Pro, and there's more I'm going to say too. But it's a puzzling thing of charging this much money for the different specs. Yes, you have more internal SSD space, but you don't have the stand, you don't have a disk drive. If you have a PS5 disc model, like I said before, you can't play those games until you buy a disc drive. So this is really more for people who either have a digital library and can spend the money on the Pro for that minor improvement, or if you never had a PS5 yet and you're waiting for the Pro experience, then you can go for the Pro. But you're still better off saving money by buying a base PS5. Even if you buy digital now and then buy the disc drive later, you're still saving money that way. I did have a point that I wanted to make, which is a lot of people talking about this Pro seem to think that the main reason for this thing to exist is to get the best version of GTA 6 when it releases. And I have a problem with that because I don't think this announcement should be tied to one game releasing. If that's the case, that's stupid because you're basically saying PS5 Pro is really meant to utilize the maximum performance of GTA 6, which may have the best performance out of any game ever released up until that point, versus the endless number of games you can play on PS5 with good visuals and performance, whether it's first party or third party. There's so many games. Just to name a few of them off the top of my head is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Horizon Forbidden West, Spider-Man 2, God of War Ragnarok. You have Ghost of Tsushima. You have Assassin's Creed. Valhalla looks pretty great for its release time that it came out. You have Hogwarts Legacy looks pretty good. Could look better, of course, but does look pretty good either way. There is the Crew Motorfest looks pretty good. Some sports games look good, like NBA 2K looks good either way. You have Call of Duty that looks good for what it is and has that larger install size. There's so many games out. My dog is like being a pain. Hang on. All right, so I got them to quiet down a little bit, but you kind of get the point here that if you want to say I'm buying the PS5 Pro for GTA 6 because that's the only thing I care about, or that's where I'm going to get the most performance boost out of this console. One game, which is not set to release to end of 2025, maybe 2026. I heard a rumor that it might be delayed, but that one game versus the endless number of games you could play on PS5 that would look great and look amazing. Even like I play on a monitor that has 120 frames per second support, but it makes those games display at 1440p. That's fine for me. Then I have my TV that can play 4K 60 frames, also fine for me. I play a lot of first party games that run great already on PS5 base model. I don't need that extra performance for the Pro. That's not that big improvement. It's only a 45% performance increase. Plus that 700 price tag, plus the disc drive, plus the vertical stand. It's just a lot. It's a lot, and I don't think it's worth your money if you already have a PS5. So I don't know what they're thinking. Maybe they're trying to make the money back from Concord. It's a tinfoil hat conspiracy, I guess. But there's really not much else I want to say about the PlayStation 5 Pro. Just don't buy it. Don't pre-order it. Let them see that they made a big mistake by pricing it that much without giving us enough reason to go get a PS5 Pro, especially if you already have a PS5 Pro. It's kind of a broken record type of thing, but they showed PS4 games and launch title games that don't even have that big of a gap of performance. And for that price tag, with everything you need to buy for it, you might be better off going for a gaming PC instead. I have $1,000 monitor. They only cost me $500. I got it on sale for $500. The Sony InZone M9, and that runs amazingly well for me and looks well. And then I have my TV if I want to play on TV for my cinematic experience. But as I said in one of my previous videos, my Portal video, I love Sony and PlayStation, obviously, but I have to call them out when they do something wrong or stupid, and this is one of those big things. So let me know in the comments down below if you feel the same way, if you think the PS5 Pro is a waste. I see a lot of people on YouTube having the same opinion, that they think it's not worth the upgrade, not worth the price gap. So let me know in the comments what you think, and be on the lookout for my AstroBot review. It should be out very, very, very soon, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.